Hello, welcome back to Embassy Row, Scotland 2018 here at the National Capital Curling Centre. This is Mike Sell here bringing you what was scheduled to be the 6 p.m. draw. We'll be starting just a few minutes behind schedule. All four of these games going on are going to be C event quarterfinals, so all four winners are going to come back tomorrow morning and play the C event semifinals and then perhaps the finals. That does mean all of these games are lout games. The non-winners of these games will not be back with us tomorrow morning, but that just means they're able to stay and hang out with us as late as they want tonight. We've got the teams all set. Sheet A, we're going to have the Flowers of Scotland versus Lost Handle. Sheet B, our featured game, is going to be the Loose Ends versus Team Ohio. On Sheet C, we've got what we call here a Pittsburgh death match. Two teams from the same club playing each other. The Pittsburgh Rookies against Single Barrel. On Sheet D, we've got Ground Sweeper Willie playing against Team Injured Reserve. When we get what color everybody is, we'll put those on the scoreboard and on the screen while we sort that out. But in the meantime, we are about ready to begin our featured game. The first stone is in front of the hack, and skips are getting into position. And the first stone of this game is on the way.
On that. Sit on it. Little tap back's okay. Whoa, whoa. Yep, that's not me, yep. Sorry, you heard the other sheet.
Looks like a fairly nice center guard there.
Nice and slow.
All right, so as best I can tell, when I just entered all the team names in the order I had them, I got all the colors right, just somehow, even when we didn't know what color everyone was going to be. So.
It's not great, but okay. I'll make.
And we get a nice down weight takeout here and a really nice roll into that guard. And as I sit here and try to get all the teams and colors and everything sorted out and work in the cameras, I have been joined by Brian Downheim.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
That's not bad. I guess since there's no Saturday League today, we're going to be co-commentators.
Oh, there you go. We're co-coordinators of the Saturday League, so we might as well sit together right now.
Co-coordinators of the Saturday draw on the webcam.
Did you get all the colors sorted out?
I believe so. It looks like all the people I recognize are throwing the colors that I think they should be. I was saying when we started, we've got a Pittsburgh death match on sheet C. We have Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh.
That was so. I have some intel on that one, by the way. The skip of the Singer Barrel team is the one who taught the Pittsburgh rookies how to curl. So we're trying to see if the student has become the master in that event there.
Certainly possible. I mean, the learning curve of curling is not the easiest, but it does get shallow eventually. And so depending on how long ago he taught them how to curl, it's possible they're as good as he is.
From what I've seen of the Pittsburgh Rookies, we did. I think I did a broadcast for them not that long ago. They were pretty decent. They won that game that I broadcast earlier this week. So I guess it was yesterday.
Oh yeah, I did between the draws there. I did note down every team sort of route here, mostly because I saw it sitting here on the table from a previous draw, and I was like, oh yeah, that's good info. I should go get that. Yeah. But now that we're into like the 10th draw of the Bonspiel, everyone's paths are kind of wonky now. It wasn't like everyone was either 1-0 or 0-1 like the previous list here was.
Yeah. These are all
C event quarterfinals. So the winners,
which unfortunately for them means they still have 2 more to go after this.
Yes, the winners do all have to play at something like 9 or 9:30 tomorrow morning.
I believe it's 9. I think they're playing 9 and noon tomorrow.
Up. Bumper. It's all there. We're hot.
So I haven't actually looked at the draw. Do we know who the B event finalists are then?
Coming on it.
Because they're not playing now. They will be playing the semifinals right at 8:30 then, right?
That sounds right. I think the B semis are usually late Saturday night.
Little bump's good too.
I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, the B semis will be at 8:30. Have the B and the A semis at 8:30 tonight.
Oh, okay.
Which I will be playing on Sheet C. Pretty excited.
So I guess since you're on sheet C, that would be that you're in the A.
I'm in the A, yeah. Playing against Team Shaw, who has played very well this week. My own team has gotten better every time, so we're pretty pleased.
That's all you can really hope for. If every game you come out and play better than your previous ones, then you're set up to have a pretty good Bonspiel.
We will end with a winning record. And we're playing on Sunday regardless, not necessarily in the final. If we lose tonight, then we have to play at 9 a.m. tomorrow in the D event semis.
Unfortunate, but
somebody's got to do it.
It's a Sunday game, yeah.
Same way. That's got to make contact.
So, did you have any of the haggis, Mike?
I didn't, no.
Oh, there's still some over there, I think. You can still get some. It's kind of fake haggis because it doesn't have any of the nasty bits. It's just ground beef and ground lamb mixed with the oats and spices and stuff. So it doesn't have any lung or tripe or anything good.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say when you say haggis without the nasty bits, to me it just not Scottish or anything, but just from my personal understanding, the nasty bits are what makes it haggis.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's just sausage.
That's why I said it was basically fake haggis.
It was sausage.
I mean, they tried to have like vegetarian haggis too, which I think is also similarly like they just threw some oats and spices with some other junk in there. I don't know how
vegetarian anything ends up being fake. Like veggie burgers are just like lentil patties or whatever. I don't even know what goes in them because they're blasphemous. But
Come in open.
So Team Shirk here is sitting shot. I think they were just trying to guard that up, and unfortunately kind of ticked and rolled a little bit.
Yeah, they.
And that's not the right sheet at all. There we go. They did unfortunately tick one of the yellow rocks in. So yellow is sitting second and third shot. If they can get that red off the forefoot, they're going to be sitting 3 and in good shape.
There's definitely an open line for it. It's got to take a good weight call and a good line call to get it there. It's not a huge
This one's hanging a bit, it looks like. They're trying to get it to curl a little bit. A little bit light.
They're through the port.
Oh, he did get through. Did it clear the back one? Nope, jammed a little bit on the back one.
On the back one, but they roll to shot under their guard on the top 12 there. So
yeah, actually that's. It may not look like. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty well behind cover because George is signaling for the slash double almost.
Yeah, I mean, there's a line there. You could come at it inside out.
But you're probably not going to stick around if you make that hit.
No, you'd have to come either really down weight to just kind of push it back, like almost like what they just did, or go for the slash here.
Yep.
Or the
I think it looked like George was saying if you make the double, that's great, but if you make the hit and roll behind those 2 guards, that's okay too because you open it up.
Oh, yeah.
That looks tight. George calling sweep immediately. Let's see how this ends up. A little bit on the inside. Oh, didn't get a good roll like he wanted.
May have exposed more of the outside instead of the inside to make it maybe easier to come after, but from my view here, it's not great. But when it's your own stone, at least you can play that run back.
They do have control of kind of the front of the house now. If you're yellow and you're looking, how do you get another rock in? How do you get another rock in? That long guard right by the hog line there is kind of hurting them. Because otherwise you would draw around.
Yeah, otherwise you would just draw the other side, split
Yeah.
the house, got room, but now you don't really got room. You could try to go. Yeah, that high guard is really just in the worst spot.
Yeah.
Because if it's further out, you've got a nice line in. If it's further in,
the
you got a
only
nice
thing
line
I
out.
can see is maybe if you wanted to get a second one in, you go basically from the center line and curl towards the outside of the 8-foot and hope it hangs on without curling too far. Looks like he's going to play a guard in front of that red run back, though. That's probably the most dangerous shot for them.
Yeah, yellow does have the hammer, I believe, here. So I guess the goal here is try to protect your first one and then maybe take a low-risk shot for your second one.
They do.
Scoreboard says they do, but that could just be...
I think that's wrong. I
think
think
very possible that they do.
Because George has not thrown a rock yet. So
okay, so then George...
So
has
Hal is the skip of the...
Oh, that's right, yeah. Hal did call the first shot of the game, so they just have the hammer on the wrong place on the board. But that's not really a huge issue. They'll probably fix it when they hang the first end.
Wants to leave this one a little longer. You don't want to line it up for him to... I think that actually did the job.
It kind of does, because
you can't get to nose that
Yeah,
red.
it's tighter than they wanted, but if you use that to play, if you use that yellow to play the red, you're going to be playing it the wrong direction.
George may just end up throwing the tap here on that red rock. If he can just throw a T-line weight on the left yellow, or the left red one, he kind of accomplishes two things. He gets another rock in the house. Maybe he gets it to be shot, but he also maybe opens up the access to that yellow rock for a big end.
Oh, yeah. And with yellow throwing a guard with their last shot, if he can tap this to the 4-foot and be shot, it's buried, unless it comes out the other side.
And remember, he does still have, if he can somehow get that yellow rock out, he has at least one biter at the top, and then the one that jammed in the back. He could get a big end here. He might get 3, depending on what happens. So I think that was the call. I don't, even though he's standing next to the yellow rock, I don't think they did call the takeout. I think he just wanted to play a little bit of a heavy draw and tap the other one in.
Yeah, it's always a little awkward when you're playing a weight. At least for me, when you're playing a weight that's draw weight, but you're targeting something that's well above the house. Because trying to figure out the line.
The line for that is it's definitely tricky.
That is light. That is light.
Sweepers are going. I think they're inside. I'm going to touch a Yellowstone here, but...
No, I think he got it.
Oh.
It's a little heavy. Let's see where that ends up. Oh, it just went too far. A little too heavy. He did open up that access to the yellow, so yellow is going to have to throw another guard, I think.
Stop!
You can see that the red rock, that George just threw did roll away to the left side of the house. So now Hal's basically protecting that one yellow for his life.
Yeah, yellow sitting the steal at the moment, but not comfortably.
Oh, he looks like he's getting a little frisky here. He looks like he wants to get another one in the 8-foot, which is that's a pretty good call too. Even if you don't make it exactly the way you want, if you're a little short, that's fine. Yeah. But if you really, all you have to do is be fully in the 12 to outcount that red in the back, and then you're sitting 2, and then what does George do then? Like we mentioned earlier, he can't draw around the other side.
Yeah, and even if he were to hit the
shot rock,
it would be for 1 if he sticks around, which he still might take because it's perhaps better than giving up the steal. But
I think the ideal shot is just to get it kind of half tucked behind the yellow guard you just threw, but in the 8-foot, so it kind of blocks half of the other shooter too, or the other shot rock right now too. One of these days we got to get the telestrator up on this webcast so we can put a rock and show them where we want that to end up.
Yeah, I think it's a feature we can pay for or
pay for.
Well, there's like 9 different versions of VMix that will come with different features, and I think that's in the next package up, but there was a time when we had like free trial version that had everything, and we were able to do it for like 1 spiel or something. But
interesting. Well, this one is definitely light. It's not going in the house.
Definitely a guard.
And it curled a ton.
Oh, it's going to be back on the center line and not really guard anything in particular.
I think it's just I don't know that he was that bad. I think maybe just picked the wrong ice for that one. Just a little bit inside of where he wanted. So now George has a bit of a delicate hit and stick, and
I mean that was.
I think he would only get 2. I think that red that you see that's kind of at the top of the house there looks like there's a little bit of white, even though there's a shadow.
The lighting over our house is black.
The shadow is just like exactly in the wrong place. I think it's just a little.
It would be 2 though, and it would still be a pretty nice 2, because he's definitely got the second shot in the back.
Yep.
Oh, and we've got scores in other games. Well, we'll get those posted while we watch this. From this angle, it kind of looks like it's floating a bit.
It is a little out. I think he might have just overthrown it a hair. It's got it. No, it glances off the guard and knocks his own out. No! Well, that was. They just gave up 2. Oh wow, that was probably the worst possible outcome there. I did not see that coming.
If you would have told me that there was a shot to give yellow a 2 there, I didn't see it.
No. So that's a 2 for Team Ohio. Hal McGrady jumping out to the quick lead. So Mike here is updating the other scores. It looks like Lost Handle scored 2 on sheet A in the first end. Pittsburgh Rookies took their single on sheet C.
Yep. And the Ground Sweeper Willie, they stole a 1 in the first over on sheet D over Injured Reserve.
Yeah, I think they had somebody threw the wrong rock on sheet D there.
Oh,
they're replacing a rock. I was kind of wondering what Greg was doing there. Greg just kind of like stood in the hack and tossed one down. It turned out it was just the wrong rock was played, so they swapped them out. Everything's good.
Yep, unsurprisingly, there are rules for that, and they're pretty easy to sort out. And like a lot of things, that rule was probably put in there because somebody did that, and they were like, well, how do we fix this? Turns out it's exactly the way you would think. You just change the color of the rock to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, if you make a basket in basketball in the wrong hoop, tough luck. But if you throw the wrong color rock, we're going to put it back the way it should be. We're not going to count it for the other team and give them an extra rock.
We put a new handle on the rock so it's the right color. No, we don't do that because
that would be
these handles are a pain enough as it is without actually taking them off the rocks. Sometimes they just seem to want to come off anyway.
Yeah. I already had to tighten up 2 in the last couple days. Sometimes they rattle a little bit coming down the sheet. Doesn't really affect anything, but
yeah, they rattle a bit, or someone maybe picks one up to clean it and twists it the wrong way, or twist it a little too hard.
That's the bigger concern is you don't want that handle twisting in your hand when you're trying to release it.
Oh, or just when you're sitting there in the hack and just give it a spin and just the handle spins and not the rest of the rock, and you're just like, oh, that's it's problematic.
So Team Ohio with 2 rocks in the top of the house.
What about the roll, George? I mean, yeah. Get 4. Even a long roll is good.
Guy here looks to be to hit the top yellow there and roll under the red corner-ish guard.
I think they might have just swept it a little too long. It's going to nose. Pretty close to nose. I don't think it's going to roll.
It's going to roll a little, but not under.
Did get a lot further.
That actually rolled a lot. Wow.
Yellow's still sitting shot now, but and now let's see. Oh, this is a good case of the 5 rock rule. They still cannot peel that guard, the red guard over there.
Oh, look at yeah. There are only 4 rocks thrown.
So they're just going to try to put that one back, control the center of the sheet again. Not putting a broom to this one at all.
My first thought when he released it was it looks like it's got a ton of weight on it, but now seeing it slow down, it's definitely heavier than a guard, but a draw here is not the worst at all. That just tucks behind.
Really nice.
That's a really nice shot.
That is great T-line weight. I'm good. Thank you. So it's a little kind of half under. They don't want to throw a huge amount of weight. So George just called for back line. Want your shooter to stick around here somewhere.
Just peel off the guard.
That is curling way more than the yellow rock did. It's going to come, yeah, I think it's coming close to that guard. It's rolling in.
We might get a double.
It's the.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking. Try to keep it narrow.
That was just that right there. We played on the sheet in the 2 o'clock draw, and if you move, like if you're out far enough, it'll curl normally. But if you come a little bit too close to that center line, it's just gonna kind of take off. It'll curl earlier than you kind of almost have to hold it on that center line for as long as you can, and then just let it curl at the very, very end. That one they kind of let it go until it started curling, and then it was too late to hold the line at that point. So I think they'll figure it out. George is pretty smart.
Oh, George. His like sort of mental game and just savviness about the game is what always gets me. He is just he'll let you kind of get him for a couple of ends and then just.
This rock is also heavy, and it's going dead straight and tapping the red back into the 8-foot.
Yep, not quite touching the 4-foot, maybe a little bit. That's just biting the 4-foot.
Yeah.
But still only second shot.
So George is going to call basically the same shot. He was gonna go the other way, but I think that flirting with that red guard is kind of risky. Eric Clausen wants to just throw the same shot, and I think he thinks they'll know the line better this time. Definitely throwing more weight. Yeah, that's probably the right call. You don't have to be so delicate with this one. You just got to make sure you hit it.
Because if you hit it around the nose, especially, your rock's not going anywhere regardless. And
it's pretty good.
Flop under, even better. Red now lying 2.
That was a really nice shot there, Eric. That was a good adjustment by him, I think. Once he saw how much it really curled with that down weight, he just adjusted up a little bit.
Yep, and a good adjustment from George there to just read the line better the second time.
Yeah, he saw how he had him jumping on it right away, and they did exactly what I said. They held it on the line for a long time. Just let it curl a little bit at the end. So,
and that kind of matches some experiences I've had here in the past. Haven't played in this Bonspiel, but just in general, rocks sort of wanting to not curl as much toward the center line, but then once they're sort of over the hump, they just take off the other side.
This one was tracking on a pretty good line. It was just a little bit light. He wanted to freeze all the way back to that one in the 4-foot, but just didn't quite have enough weight.
Next shot.
So George wants to get rid of that one yellow out there. If he can get rid of that, then all of a sudden he will be sitting 4.
Yeah, if he removes this and keeps the shooter in play.
He's maybe got to roll in a little bit to sit 4, but he thinks his own rock is pretty well protected. So. Michael Ray working this one. And he does get that nice roll behind. Great shot.
Almost back froze onto the...
Yeah.
Okay, there's some separation there, but...
So this, I think, is where Team Ohio is going to struggle. They almost need a really big takeout weight that I don't think that they are comfortable with. I haven't seen them throw a big, huge takeout weight so far this weekend. Kind of needs to open some stuff up. It looks like he's going to run his own yellow back and hope it catches something on the way through.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance it will. The port to get through there is not huge. And there's maybe a chance you kind of, if you push it through hard enough, you might get a little bit of a thin double there with it. But if you just peel here, at least, at least you've peeled, and now you've exposed all of the rocks that are scoring.
It's got to work to get a peel.
It's going to hit the reds down here.
Little less even.
Didn't change anything. It opened up access to that one in the forfeit, though.
It did. Yeah, it took a rock out over on the left side, but stayed in that spot, so it didn't change anything over there.
So George is still sitting 4.
Looking to cover, but also looking to perhaps count for a 5th.
This
Why
is
not?
the guard that's also counting for a point at this point. You just get behind that yellow somewhere in the 12-foot, and it guards the red rock and also counts for another point. Sweepers think it's light, so they're working it hard. Yeah, that is light.
The line looks good for the guard, but I don't know if they're going to get a counter out of it. Oh, it actually needs to curl a lot to be a good guard. It's coming over.
I think that's, ooh.
That's pretty good. There's
it's a
kind
tough
of
shot
a port,
to
but
get
it definitely kind of leans the wrong way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if the skip said to throw through there, I would give it a shot, but I would not be comfortable with it.
Yeah. Hal looks like he's thinking it's kind of the same, run back your own yellow and see what happens. Maybe you get a lot of action on that pile of rocks on the right side of the house, or if you just run it straight back into that red, that's pretty good too.
Yeah, I was thinking of that last shot when there was only one yellow sort of on top of the 2 reds, and I thought that there was a chance to jam out maybe one of the reds or maybe both of the reds. Now that there's 2 yellows on there staggered, you'll get some action, and at least one of those reds is going to move.
And maybe you spill the other yellow into the house somewhere on the left side. I don't know.
True. I mean, something that touches 8 does cut off half of the points for the yellow team, or for the red team.
The ice, though, almost looks like he's going right at it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of ice if you're trying to hit your yellow.
I think he might be trying to hit the one that's left of the center line, but that is a lot of ice to go that way, unless he's playing it sort of maybe hackish and he wants to raise it back onto the red or raise it to the T-line or something. That's really tricky, but
that could be, but exactly what you said. If you just raise your yellow into the 8-foot somewhere, you're cutting down the red counters.
Yeah, and there's enough.
And it's going to be behind cover somewhere.
Behind cover or onto a red where it won't be removable.
Right. Nope, that's a lot of weight. He's not throwing hack weight for sure.
He's
and
going,
it's
he is
inside,
going
so it's going to hit the yellow.
Get it that way. Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Yep, just like that.
He's got that center line rock, runs it back.
Oh, but it rolled out. Oh, that was almost a perfect shot. It needed, I think if it had curled like an inch more, it would have just dead nosed that red and stayed around, but instead he rolls out a little bit. So now red is sitting 3. And George is trying to figure out the best spot to put it that doesn't leave Team Ohio with anything to shoot at.
In behind, if we take it open, it's okay.
I've got another score update on sheet D. Ground Sweeper Willie got another 2 in their second end, so they're going to go up 3-0 over Team Injured Reserve. Appears to be the only 2 in the shed at the moment.
Sheet C did finish the second end, but they haven't hung a score yet, so we'll let you know what happened there shortly.
That's fine.
Check the tape. Check the buffer.
I've been focusing on this game. I haven't really been looking over there very much to see what's going on.
I'm going to guess it wasn't anything incredibly spectacular. I didn't hear any ruckus or...
And usually if you did something spectacular, you're hanging the score immediately and bragging about it.
Yeah, or even like, you know, there's no excitement behind me over the shoulder into that house of like, oh, someone just got a 7. Like,
yeah. So did that one, let's take a look at the overhead real quick. Did that red roll on to outcount that yellow way in the back there? Well, it doesn't matter. This one
doesn't outcount the one on top of the 2 yellows, but...
So I think that red is still sitting 3, because I think the red on the left side of your screen there is outcounting the yellow in the top.
That's my interpretation. That one looks like it's got a lot more blue outside of it than that yellow could, but you can't really see the outside of the yellow, but...
So George was just a little bit inside on that one. He was just trying to draw around the yellows, not make contact, and just try to draw another one in somewhere. So Hal is trying to kind of figure out how to cut his losses a little bit. He,
I mean,
if he thinks he can draw all the way around that red guard into the 8-foot, that's a decent way to do it.
yeah, if you get T-line 8-foot, you're cutting red down to 1. You could maybe...
And I'm not sure if he's actually going to hit this one or not. If he thinks, well, I'll just hit this one, make George try to draw somewhere for 3, rather than give up 4.
Right.
Then you're only down 1.
Yeah, and if you hit it and stick somewhere touching the 8-foot, well, you'd have to be full 8-foot to cut down either of those other 2. But if he rolls, say, back 8, then he could be shot or be second shot and leave George with just draw to the 4-foot for 2.
Well, again, he has the broom next to the rock, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. The last time, I think...
Yeah, we were saying, oh, that's not... He's clearly not going to throw right at it. He must be drawing, and then he throws a ton of weight. He's going right at it.
Kind of floating on him a little bit here. Looks like he's just trying to draw.
Bury it behind, Kenny.
Oh, that's really nice weight.
Wow, look at that. T-line 8-foot. Look at that. Well, just above the T-line, but that's...
So, did he actually outcount the other red at the top of the house? Really, really close.
Definitely cuts off the red that's out in the 12-foot.
Yeah,
so
it did
cuts
cut
red
off the
down to 1 or 2. And got the stone a good bit of the way under a guard.
Yeah. So George, I think, is going to hit this one.
If he can see the outside of it, he can pick it out and still get a 3, even if he doesn't keep the shooter in.
Chris is asking how much they can see of this yellow. He's doing the technique of kind of putting the broom in front of the rock and saying, can you see this, can you see this, can you see this, to know how much of the rock you can see. They're comfortable enough that I think they can probably just throw an easy, even if they don't, he has 2 options. He can either pick it with a heavyweight takeout, or he can just kind of throw it down weight and stick around, maybe get a bigger end. Their sweepers are strong enough that I think they'll be, like this line, they'll be able to hold it and kind of play around with it, whatever they want to do. It's kind of a no-risk shot, unless you really, really miss it badly.
Yeah, unless you come up and only throw like backline weight or something and
tick it underneath everything.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you crash on your guard here, really, I don't see anything bad happening. There's just too much stuff in front of the house for anything to end up in.
A little tight. Eric Clausen sweeping right away. I think they're holding it good, though, like I said. See if they get around that guard. They do. Now let's see if that rock hangs around.
Can they? Oh,
no, he did roll out.
The yellow is.
And the yellow's far enough.
Far enough that's going to be a 3.
They're taking a look just to make sure, but I think that is 3 for red. I think that yellow up top is not outcounting the red in the back. You want to take a look at the overhead real quick?
Oh, good idea.
There you go. So they are kicking the rocks away. So I believe that was a score of 3 for red. So George Shirk and Team Loose Ends take a 3-2 lead after 2. Still no other scores have been hung, even though everybody else is ahead of this game. So we are going to wait, see what happens there.
I'll put up a 3, and then if they put up a 2,
that one
then I'll change it.
I think we can safely say that was a 3 for our sheet. Still waiting to see what happened on the other sheets.
Yeah, sheet C about halfway through their third end here. It's still no posted score for the second. Unless it was a blank and they're just hiding it.
No, the 2 is still in the...
Yeah. Although I was playing a game the other day, night, I don't remember what it was, but someone like hid the 1. We finished an end, and then I was like, okay, I'll hang the score. Where's the 1? It wasn't on the top of the pile. No, it was under like as like the 10th card or something. And it took me a while to find it. So the last thing I wanted to do was take them all out and like go through them all, so I didn't. And then someone else did and found it.
So the first rock for Team Shark slipped into the house. I think that was the call. It may have gone a little further than they wanted it to. Usually if you're calling in the house, you want it to be in the top of the house.
Usually, especially this early in the game.
Right.
Maybe not.
Is the guard over? No, it's not. They didn't sweep it at all, so they could have gotten it over. Or maybe they just didn't like the line enough and just wanted to leave it. Or maybe they're just
lazy front end.
Just a ranging shot. Like, let's just see what this does. Don't touch it, guys. Trace around.
No idea.
This one finds the top of the house. Pretty close to the same line.
Sit on that. Yeah, just come forward behind the guard. Good. Yep.
Maybe just a little heavy on both of those, but maybe also noticing that the front end of the other team, not the best hitters on the team. And so just setting up all the targets early when they're not necessarily going to be able to get them back out.
They were calling for a draw in here, and that was immediately a bit narrow. They're going to crash on that front one.
Got to come back in. We're around the guards.
Just never really had the line on that one to do anything with it, but...
Oh, that's not coming over. Yes, sir.
You know what we really need back in the war room here is like one of those little bullpen phones that rings down to the other end of the sheet and says, hey, hang your freaking score.
Oh. You know what?
I don't want to like I don't need a loudspeaker out on the ice that says, hang your score, jerks. But just like very nicely ring in the kind of behind the behind them on the scoreboard and be like, hey, put your score
or like
out.
a little light up sign that just says hang your score, and you could flash it on and off at them, and you have like one for each sheet or something maybe.
So they were trying to just put a rock, just biting the 12 and a little bit heavy, but now they're just cluttering everything up. So that's.
And as we sit here and complain about not getting score updates on sheets A and C, we get another one on D. D is on their third end.
They're way ahead of everybody right now.
Reserve has scored 1 in their third, so they are still behind 3-1, but on the board.
You got rid of that stupid hammer too, so you know. Sometimes that's an advantage.
Sometimes it's just useless.
You just got to get rid of it.
I have definitely had some games where just playing defense just felt good, and it just wanted.
Oh, we did get an update on sheet C also, so they're tied 1-1.
Runs it back, doubles it out.
Nice, very nicely done. It's actually now turning into a pretty decent situation for Team Ohio. They have 2 rocks hanging in front of the lone red rock in there that they can use either one of those to get rid of that red. So George is going to try to sneak another one in there, I think. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense. If he can sneak another one in behind, it'll be tough for Team Ohio to double him out. This one kind of hanging out a little bit. Just didn't, I think George jumped on it a little bit thinking it was a little tight, and it turned out to just be on a really straight line there. That didn't move hardly at all.
So McGrady calling the hit and roll, which seems like an obvious play. The thing that I would then worry about is if your plan was to use one of your top yellows to take that red out.
Yeah.
Hiding one of your own behind that may make you change that plan later, but with the 2 different angles to go at it, you've got options.
Depends on what you're comfortable with your teammate throwing at this point, too.
Yeah. I mean, you've got basically sort of center guards. You get top 4 T-line. That's certainly great, and with half of an end still to play.
This one looks like it's inside and might actually make that tap on that other red one after all. And actually not really at all. It was just a little light. Now, unfortunately, those yellows are a little bit staggered. He can only use one of them to get rid of that red. Red is now in much better shape. They're sitting 2. And score update over on sheet A. Got a 3 for Flowers of Scotland in the second end. Oh, so they take a 3-2 lead. Pretty competitive game so far. Early on in this C, what did we say was C quarterfinals?
C quarterfinals.
I believe most of these teams are at least playing their 3rd game, if not 4th.
It is 3rd for most of them. There are 1, 2.
We had a little bit of a lopsided draw because we have 24 teams, so
actually it's about half and half. I see 4 teams that have 3 games already. Both teams on A have already played 3. Both teams on D have already played 3. The teams on B and C have only played 2 each.
Oh, okay. So they must have been on the shorter side of the bracket, so.
It also kind of depends on if you end up in the C event by just losing out through the A and the B, or falling, winning through the A and then falling into the C.
Right. Which I believe is the route that Team Shirk took, loose ends. I think they won 2 in the A, or 1 in the A and then lost.
They won their first game in the A over Team Single Barrel playing on sheet C, and then they lost to WUKE or WUK, if that's how you pronounce that.
It's just all the initials of their last name, yeah.
There's a lot of teams doing that.
Not very creative, but yeah.
Well, it's always fun.
I think it's just WUK that rhymes with woke.
Right? That seems fair.
So now George is sitting 3. One of the reds is well behind cover, touching the button. I think the most dangerous shot for him is that little hit and roll off that red in the 8-foot that he has his broom right next to right now. But it looked like he just called for a guard up in front, kind of guarding the draw. I don't think he thinks that Team Ohio is going to throw that hit and roll. Just like you have to be a good judge of what your own teammates can do, sometimes you got to watch the other team and see what they can do too. And if he doesn't think they're going to throw that hit and roll, maybe he thinks they're more comfortable with the draw game, and that's a good shot. I think that
I know, like from what I saw myself, Hal himself didn't seem particularly uncomfortable with throwing big weight when he needed it, but it definitely seems like the front end of his team is not as comfortable with it.
So here's the vice, John Lawrence, trying to throw. Hal did call for a downweight hit. I saw him gesturing kind of towards the bumper or the hack. This is quiet weight, and it's hanging though. He's gonna just get a no, just drifted wide. That was really, really soft weight too. I'm surprised that didn't curl.
Yeah, that really was maybe hack to bumper weight.
That was exactly the weight he called. I didn't see him push it out at all either, but it just did not come back.
Hey, if that makes contact, that does get a nice bump. Either way, I mean, if you bump the outside of it, you get caught over on the side there.
So somebody must have heard us complaining about the score updates, because we now have score updates on sheet A again. Flowers of Scotland scored another point to take a 4-2 lead. And on sheet C, Pittsburgh Rookies took their point and take a 2-1 lead, both after 3 ends. So everybody except this feature game is now into the 4th end coming back.
I guess that's just what happens when your vice basically waits until they're holding the broom to hang the score from the second. You get your second and your third pretty much right back to back. I wish I could say I've never done that, but I've done that.
There are definitely, it'll take you longer to hang the score for an even end because you're at the wrong side of the ice. So
I try to remember to just do it. Oh, okay, I just swept and now I'm down here, I'm going to hang that. But sometimes it's like, oh, I'm standing here in this house and there's something I haven't done yet.
What is it? I already threw my rocks and, oh, the score, that's right. So George planting one right in front of that rock they've been trying to hit and roll off of.
Yep, and covers the inside roll side of it, so well guarded. Sitting
bit of a
3.
pickle. John Lawrence gesturing towards that yellow again. That seems like he could, if he makes contact with it, it'll get rid of something of the reds. I actually think that shot that he kind of gestured at, the doubling the reds, may actually have the side effect of also promoting his yellow into the red and taking that out, and also possibly clearing out some of those guards that are kind of a nuisance to him.
Sort of splitting the two apart there?
Yeah, so you hit the 2 reds in the middle, and then one of them goes towards your yellow.
Oh, yeah.
Runs back into the red.
From that angle.
Yeah, runs back into the red, and then...
And the other one just gets out of the way.
Gets out of the way.
Yeah.
And then if your shooter stays right where in between the middle of those two, then you might have a run back later too.
Might have a run back either to the center or onto that stone that's out in the 8-foot.
Yeah. I have not seen him actually want to throw that kind of shot though. He's putting it out pretty wide. And I didn't actually see what they kind of agreed on, so... I don't think you can draw that way.
Yeah, I mean...
You have to throw a heavy draw that gets to the inside of the red and almost wicks it and then rolls in to be shot.
I'm not sure. If he's not going to throw a ton of weight, maybe he's just clearing one of those 2 guards.
So I'm sitting kind of right behind the sheet, and it really does look like 3/4 of that red rock is blocked. Your art angle is a little bit kind of skewed from the camera. But it looks like about 2/3 to 3/4 of that rock is available, but I don't know if that's enough to...
Could he be trying to slash it across?
No, I don't think so. Well, let's find out how hard he's throwing it. It looks like he's...
Not a ton, but it's some...
kind of hit weight, though.
Yeah, it's...
You got to make sure you get by that guard, and it does, and hits the outside of it. So I helped himself a little bit. He cut them down. They're only sitting 2 now. But that yellow is wide open, and if they hit and even just nose it, they'll sit 3. They'd much rather get behind the guard, hit and roll. Lots of discussion for a shot when you're already sitting 2. I think Chris's initial thought is probably the best one. If you hit, even just roll into the 8-foot, I don't know what Team Ohio does.
Yeah, and it looked like the main argument at the first was, do we hit and roll or do we just draw? And either one is a fantastic result.
Right.
Now it looks like maybe they're thinking about trying to just remove both of those yellows. Also,
I think he's putting it pretty tight to just kind of make that little flop.
I think that's fine. I think at one point George might have pointed at both, but he may have just been pointing at the spot to put the broom down.
Right.
There's no need to remove both of those yellows. No real need to remove any of them, but you use the one to flop over because it's in a good spot for that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you have 2 that aren't really going anywhere.
Yeah. Yellow sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th shot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they just do not have a way to get rid of those other reds.
Majority does not score. Where yellow would be doing fine right now.
This is also kind of floating a bit on George. We've seen this line float a little bit. And it's just going to nose, but they are sitting 3 now. So now does Hal kind of have the same shot where you hit and roll off of that red towards the button? If you get it inside, it's going to jam on your outside yellow, but you don't care. You're just trying to
You're just trying to get the shooter across,
the shooter to roll a bit. He has plenty of room. You just got to figure out where to put that broom that it's going to stay on a good line and probably hit maybe an inch or 2 inside a nose and get a little rollover towards the 4-foot. I don't know if you can get to shot from there. It's kind of a shallow angle, a little bit dangerous to try that, but you can at least outcount that other red in the 8-foot if you get a roll of, 2 rocks worth.
Yeah, you can turn this 3 into a 1, which at the moment would be a pretty successful result.
I don't mind going behind you again either. You're good. Less. Yeah. Good.
So I'm not super convinced on this ice that he put down there. Maybe he is just trying to draw. Where the ice is, what we've seen of takeouts that they've thrown on this line, they've all kind of floated and fell out to the side. I have not seen really like a draw weight on this path, though. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. So here he comes. That does look like close to the same weight that he threw last time, and it's not wanting to curl. Just a little bit too far out. And it will be a steal of, maybe not. Steal of 2. He hit and rolled off his own to cut him down.
The 3rd one, yep.
Not probably the way he meant to do that, but should only be a score of 2 for George Shirk and loose ends. So they take a 5-2 lead. Over on sheet D, they are a full end ahead of this game, and let's see, who was that? That was Groundsweeper Willie. Took another point in the 4th end to take a 4-1 lead over Team Injured Reserve.
A and C still finishing up their 4th ends, and B just starting their 4th end.
Same weight roughly as you had on the last one. That's great team line.
So Michael Ray drawing one just into the top 12 there, it looks like. Just biting. pretty common strategy in when you have a lead, is to throw your first one in the house and
I really like that
clean.
the way it came up, just because if they decided for whatever reason they didn't want it to be in the house, they could have just stopped sweeping it anywhere and would have had a nice tight center guard. But as it is, they do have a counter.
So they didn't lay a brush to this one, and probably should have. Instead of, I think if they had swept that at all, they would have hit it really solid and just kind of let it. I think he thought it was going to stay straighter than they did, and
it might be another case of that on the center line, it hangs, curls, and then once it gets enough over, it
curls
falls
across
off
the center line. Yeah. So that'll give Michael Ray a chance to just put another one in somewhere, put some pressure on Team Ohio.
I think let's take this out first. Get out of there.
Going right back up the center line here.
Yeah.
This one's going to be deeper.
Yeah, that's what they wanted.
Right on the button?
Oh, look at that. That's pretty good. Take an overhead view of that.
Look at that. If we had a sponsor logo on that button, they'd be mad right now.
Yeah. Can't see the sponsor. Sorry. We don't. That's just our logo, I think. So this one is a lot nicer. Stayed on that other side of the center line that we were talking about before, and so it stayed straighter, right on the nose. Ruined that covering button shot. The worst thing for a lead is when you throw that one perfectly on the button and then somebody just comes and says, I'm going to take it out. Sorry.
Yep. Nice shot. Take it out. Sort of a catchphrase among skips.
Yeah.
Nice shot. Take it out.
So Eric Lawson falling victim to that. I think he pinched it a little bit and is crossing that center line, and it's going hard. He's trying to hold it. Oh, just didn't quite. I think you're right. I think it's that center line. If you pinch it a little too close to the center line, it's going to cross and fall. And I think that's what Chris Faircloth is talking to George Shirk about right now. He just said you need just to take a little bit more ice. They're trying to get this one into the 12-foot, or at least get it to cover their shot rock. That's actually curling nice.
For the cover, yeah.
I think they were hoping to just get it in a little bit, but that's a pretty good shot. That is well covered. And
that being
Eric Clausen getting a little greedy because he missed that last shot. He said, I know I can peel it, but I could also make the double. Come on, Skip, give me a chance. So I think George kind of shrugged and said, let's make sure we get the front one first, and then we'll worry about the double. And he just missed the double and hit and rolled that red just to a little guard position. So Hal's going to put it right back.
Gets another chance to get this to be a counter as well as a guard. Although honestly, I wouldn't mess with it too much because I'd rather have a guard not counting than a counter not guarding.
Right.
And the first one was so perfectly lined up.
This is actually, it's got to kind of sit down a little bit, but I think it's along the right line. I think they just need to get it a little bit over back towards center line. And that is two beauties. For the second, I think that's David Lowe.
Oh, for loose ends?
So
I have...
switched.
So,
Stuart
Basson
Basson was lead.
So, yeah, sure. David Lowe, then, I guess is how that's pronounced.
L-A-U-X, I don't know. We're going to go with Lowe. Say it's the French pronunciation.
Wasn't bad on the target, it just kept falling out.
So this is kind of the same idea. If you peel the yellow, it's good. If you make a double somehow, that's good also. And this is on a different line, so it's a little further to the left and it's floating.
But that's a peel.
Very, very sensitive, this line. Super tricky.
The trick with that last one, too, I think, was the way that it was lined up for the double. If you hit the double, there was a good chance you were still guarded. But if you kind of hit the double close, you may have been guarding and still had the shot rock behind you. So I think the peel was a really good result there.
I agree. I always play for the peel first, and then if it curls enough, then that's good. This one looks like it's a little tighter to the center line. And light, they got to get this over. I don't know how good of a guard this is going to be.
Oh,
it's John Lawrence trying to get it over. Will it get
over? Looks like they've got it into play, but it's so really high. Long. It's not even on the camera view. Oh, you just see the handle poking out on the camera view there.
It's a long guard.
That's how long that guard is, and it's not really over the
just curled a little bit too much. So George calling for Chris Faircloth to throw a bumper weight hit on this one. Oh, did they wait too long? Is it going to get by that long guard? Is it going to get by? Oh, well, like they said, if it's a good guard if somebody hits it, right? So just ticked that guard. I think Chris Faircloth was just a little inside of the line there. Couldn't quite get it to hold. So now Hal's going to try to put another one up. I'm not really sure why he. I think he should be taking a little bit more ice for this. That's just my opinion. I would rather be a little bit on the right side of the center line than.
Yes. Up.
Or sorry, the left side of the center line then. This is looking like a better line though, and he's got better weight, so they're not.
Yeah, they don't have to panic to get this into play. It's in play.
Now they just want it to stop. I think that's pretty good. A lot better weight there from John Lawrence.
Kind of steer this to go wherever they want. Yeah, that's...
Might still be able to see a little corner of that, but that was a lot better guard there from John Lawrence. Good adjustment by him.
I still think the first one was the best one, though, which just more reason to go for those peels. You know, put it back is almost never going to be as good as it was.
Yeah, it's... If you're a super high-level curler that you can duplicate your exact motion and everything all the same every time, but even those guys don't make it every time. So
there's so many variables that even if you duplicate your motions every time, you're not necessarily going to get the same result every time.
Yeah. So let's see. I think we have a few more score updates. On sheet A, team Lost Handle took 1 in the 4th, and so they closed the gap to 4-3. And on sheet C, Single Barrel took 2 in the 4th to take a 3-2 lead. Very close games everywhere so far. This is actually the biggest disparity right now. But Hal McGrady has a chance here to close the gap.
The game on D also a 3-point game.
True.
Unless that would change, but
nope, you're right. So they're trying the double here, it looks like, and it missed.
Missed and guarded. So now Hal has a chance.
That was
to
exactly what you were talking about earlier. If you don't make that double, you leave one of your own rocks up there as a guard. And now
Hal gets his chance to spend a rock, not worrying about guarding his own.
Hal could even just hit that red over on the left side and sit 2. It looks like he's just going to draw. Also a perfectly good shot because George is going to have to try to run back that red he just threw with if Hal makes anything here.
Yeah, that's I like the draw. I like drawing behind that red just to make the run back as hard as possible. Or make it so that it hits not your shot stone, it hits something else on the way.
I think about the only bad thing you can do is leave it open on that side where he might be able to play an in-off double. But he took enough ice that I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to risk hitting that red card at all. So he took enough ice to make sure he gets around it. And as long as he gets some of his own behind that red guard, I think he'll be happy with it, sitting second shot.
This is the side of the ice, though, where those shots all kind of floated last end. We're going the other direction, so it's the left now instead of the right, but that's the same physical ice.
They're not putting a broom to this one. I think they think it's a bit heavy. They already missed the outside red, and that's going to sail right through the hole. Just a bit heavy. It did float a little bit on that line, but I don't know if that was because he just threw it heavy or it's a floaty line still. So we'll have a chance.
Everything's a little floaty when you throw hack for a draw.
Yep. So George is trying to figure out how to get out of this one.
He's got sort of the straight run up the center line. He's got a little bit of an angle raise on the outside.
I think that's what he's trying to see is which one is the...
The angle is shorter, but it is an angle. The center line one is probably a lot easier to hit, but it is a long run, and those are never simple, even when they're straight.
Looks like he is going to go with the center line run back. This is that case where it's not a bad thing if you do... if your rock stays in that position, because it does make Hal McGrady's draw for 2 a little bit harder. But I think he definitely wants to get rid of that one for sure. So let's see if he can make the adjustment from the previous shot.
Gonna have to be on that.
Oh, Nintendo Star are Hogline Hogs have ever placed 5th sheet for the Scottsfield. At least on the near end here.
I think they're the far end is like one of those hairy cows, furry cow things. Right. I don't remember what they're called. But this is close. They were calling sweep and they called up, and it's going to be close. It's got to curl a little bit more. See if he gets it. Nope, just a little bit.
Little outside, sends it across, opens it up. But do they have any?
This is the last rock. Nope,
yeah,
this is the last rock for Hal. So he's just got a straight draw into the 8-foot for his deuce. He can take a little bit truer line that doesn't float as much, maybe, and draw right to his yellow in the 4-foot.
Yeah, and I mean that's the sort of safety valve is having the stone there if you're a foot or so heavy. Yep. But if he just gets even close on the weight, the line doesn't matter a ton because he just has to be in the 8-foot anywhere.
Yep. So quick update of the score on sheet D. Injured reserve took 1 in the 5th and closed the gap to 4-2 after 5 ends. Pretty competitive games.
Oh yeah, I mean if
all around.
If Hal doesn't get a 2 here, then our biggest blowout at the moment is the 2-point game happening on sheet D.
Right. Definitely took something off of that one, and now they're sweeping early. I think he was a little gun shy after the last one went all the way through. They're going to have to pound this one hard to get it all the way in. Sweeper is working hard. He's got to get it to almost touch the 8-foot. And will he get it?
He's got it to the rings. He's got it.
Oh, that was great sweeping.
Yeah, look at that. He's got it. Oh, that's all the way there.
David Lowe almost single-handedly brought that all the way into the 8-foot. Great shot by Hal. Close the gap. They score their deuce.
Graw throws it to the sweepers for 2 points.
Let's try to hit it on the outside, unless you think we can come in on the intern with it. I think we can. Let's do
Perhaps a little bit more than David wanted to actually sweep that one. that was some yeoman's work he was doing.
I mean, yeah, throwing to the sweepers means different things to different people.
Yeah. But like you said, if you want to throw it to the sweepers, when you have backing is a little bit of a, you don't want to throw it to him that much.
No, he could have easily put 2 or 3 more feet of weight on that shot, gave the lead a little bit of a break, and also just had a lot more confidence in that it was going to get there.
Yeah. I think, like I said, though, I think he was a little gun-shy after that first one went through. He just tried to adjust a little too much, but it ended up being a good shot. They did get their deuce. All right, so since they're starting this new end, I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be right back.
No worries. I'll sit here, push buttons for you.
Yeah, we're way out. All right, let's do this. Take guard back. Work with those 2. Give you a little more right. Easy up late. Turn around.
So loose ends first rock. Basically a corner guard, but does go onto the rings. Hal McGrady is going to ignore it for the time being, though, and just try to keep his stones to the center. Pretty typical and sound strategy for an end here.
Okay, I agree.
First, second Yellowstone lines up nicely behind the first, but perhaps a little bit deep, being in the back of the 8-foot. I think the plan here was to maybe draw down 2 or hit that stone. Oh, they do. Oh, they are by the guard. The camera angle, it looked like they weren't going to get around the guard, but they're around. And they are onto and pushing back and pushing out the Yellowstone. So very nice shot. Very precise shot on what was a little bit delicate. McGrady here, I believe, calling for essentially a repeat of that. Follow it down. Weight looks a little questionable, but they're into the play zone. And it's gonna stay up high. I'm gonna guess that was not what they wanted. George looking for the draw here. Calls for the sweep right out of Eric's hands. Then gives it a chance, lets it curl. Maybe the sweepers called him off because of the weight. It is a touch heavy, perhaps, but nope, that's right where they want it. Yep, that's top 4 center line. Under the guards.
Yes. Watch the weight. I think we get that out of there and roll it into the bottom here. Hard guys. Hard.
Hal calling to get the guard out of there, but then it looked like he maybe pointed for back house or back line for the weight, so maybe he's looking to just raise one in. He is going to be wide of the guards and narrow of the outside red. That one's going to sail through. George going to take the opportunity to just drop another one in the bucket here.
Pass the guard. Yep. Off. Let's rock. Yes.
This one just checks up a little early. Pretty nice line, but instead of coming around that guard, it's a little light and curls over on top of it, but not a terrible result. It just narrows that port for Hal McGrady to push a rock through. Hal looking maybe here for a run back on the outside yellow there. Gets some contact on it, but doesn't run it back. Does put it on the rings, I think. Yeah, it's on, but loose ends and the redstone still lying 3, though.
I'll put you outside of it. Eric! Both you guys, both! Very nice.
Chris Faircloth there, the vice for the loose ends, throwing up a pretty nice guard.
Line's there. Watch the rocks as you're coming in. On it. Off. It's okay. No.
What's going on here? Switched over to the far camera and just sort of lost that stone. There it is.
We're here. Top house. The arm's okay because the aim is top house. Good.
So the yellow stone rolls across under the guards, is in the top of the 8-foot circle there. Cuts George Shirk and the red team down to 2 at the moment. It's looking like 6 stone here is going to be a draw.
Gotta get there! Gotta get over there, just over.
Little maybe miscommunication there on the line or the weight or something with the sweepers, but they've got it lined up and it becomes a nice long guard. So Hal here, is he looking to maybe crack apart those 2 stones on the center line to open up a shot up the middle?
Right here. If we tap it up, it's okay. Okay? You guys remember what that was?
Makes some contact, does split them apart a little bit, leaves a nice port up the center line. I'm not sure though, with that yellow that's in the top of the 8, if there's a good shot to remove the reds. All right, score updates. We have posted that the Flowers of Scotland on sheet A scored a 2 in the 5th to go up 6-3. The Pittsburgh Rookies have scored a 1 in the 5th to tie with Single Barrel at 3 all after 5. They're starting the 7th on D, but we don't have a score yet from the 6th. So George lying 2. He's got a guard that's not really covering anything at the moment, so I'm guessing the call here is draw under that guard. The stone over curling a lot. Yeah, that one's just going to end up sitting on top of the guard on the center line there. Leaves Hal a chance here to draw. Looks like he's going to draw down to the stone in the back of the 4. Which probably would not get him to shot, but would cut George down to 1.
So what I miss? It looks like they're in a pickle again there.
They are. George, with the hammer, has set up a pretty good end.
Sitting two?
Yeah, he's sitting 2.
Sitting 2.
There was a shot earlier where I'm not sure who on Hal's team was throwing it, but was trying to make a play over on the outside and rolled across to that spot in the top of the 8-foot to cut out that rock that's on the right side of the 12, but didn't really do much other than that. Opened up some ports with his last stone by cracking apart a couple of guards that were frozen. But with this one, I believe he's just trying to come down onto the rock in the back 4. So sort of freeze out everything but the rock that's just above the button.
Hal's second, so
this
he's
is Hal's last
make
rock,
a good one here. Hanging out a little bit. It's got to come back.
The weight looks pretty nice. I might be sweeping that if I was that sweeper on the left.
Got to curl a little bit. Oh, and yeah, I think you might have been right. Just needed to sweep it a little more to outcount that. Because I don't think George can really make a play on that one. If he had swept it 6 inches more,
well, that
to outcount that red in the back.
And also
take a quick look at the overhead here.
He was going the right direction, so it just kind of needed to help to kind of finish over a little bit more. But
if he sweeps it a little bit further, that's on the edge of the 4, and they can't get rid of it. And he's only going to get 2. But now he does have to go pretty far out. So let's go back to the other view. Oh, that camera is frozen.
Yep, I'm resetting it.
There it goes.
There we go.
So he does have to go pretty far out and get a piece of the 4-foot to score 3. So it may have actually done the job of making this draw a little bit harder for George to get 3.
Yeah, he may have didn't cut him down from 2 at all, but may have prevented him from getting a 3. He's got to get to within about an inch of the red ring.
So I see you updated most of the scores except for sheet D. Ground sweeper Willie, I think, scored 1 to make it 5-2.
Oh, yes. That was just posted, I guess. I was looking for that a minute ago. Didn't see it.
And this is definitely on that hanging line. That's not going to come back.
Is there something over there it can roll in off of? It doesn't look like it.
No, they just missed the tick off the yellow and weren't able to do it. I don't think they had enough weight to actually tick and roll in anyway. So a score of 2 for loose ends to reopen that 3-point lead again. Massive 3-point lead as opposed to like...
3 is the widest any of the games
on
the sheets have been, and we have 3 3-point games and we have a 3-3 game. So if you had ticket number 3 at home, you're tonight's winner. You win nothing in particular, but congratulations anyway.
So this feature game is basically I'm not trying to say they're slow, but they are the last one to finish the 5th end.
Yeah.
So they're behind all the other games, which pretty much means unless they shake early, we're going to keep following this game. So pretty competitive. So we're going to definitely stay with it, but keep you apprised of all the other games as well. So Michael Raysrock hanging out a bit, but getting nicely into the house, into the 8-foot ring, and now into the 4.
Back line. Turn over, throw it. Let's just see if we can get a piece and push it. Keep coming over. Gotta keep coming over. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Hal wanted just to freeze on this one. It's a little heavy from Stuart Basson. It's going to make contact with that one, though, and maybe get it out. Let's see if he gets it out. And he does. Maybe not what he called, but still not a bad result.
Especially for the sweepers just kind of bailing out in the middle of the shot.
Right. John Lawrence, halfway down the sheet, realized he might need to actually sweep that towards the rock, do that directional sweeping, and then ran back, but was not needed. Sweepers never give up on your shots. Michael Ray gonna take out that yellow. Did a nice job.
Eric Clausen with a nice sweep there, holding that rock on line.
I have a feeling Hal might just call that same freeze call. Yep, there he is.
See more of it this time? Let's see if I can get the double.
See if Stuart Baston is able to take a little bit off this one. Play a nice freeze. Line looks like it'll track nicely if he throws the right weight. If he threw the right weight, it's going to come in nice.
Going to get a little tap, but still nice line, nice weight. Oh, taps it all the way out. I think part of it was they hit that part of the line where it really started tracking over hard.
Yeah.
So the sweepers got on it to hold the line, and they did. They held the line very nice, but added 3 extra feet to the shot, and now it's a takeout instead of a freeze. But
yeah, I thought that was going to end up really nice with a jam possibility in the back there. This one is curling a ton. I think that's a little surprising compared to what the last shot just did for Stuart Basson, and that one just curled a ton for Eric Clausen. Sweepers were not able to hold that one. Just ticked it back over into the forefoot.
so McGrady and Team Ohio with a little bit of an opening now to try to lock in this one and maybe get a second one by guarding and counting in the top 12. Or
I agree, yeah.
Yep.
Just put one, make the other team throw a double.
This stone looking pretty nice. The line looks like it's going to be where they want. Might be one of those where it guards but doesn't quite get to the rings, but
Might
no,
get
they're
a
going to get
biter
it
out of it. No, it's going to check up just a hair short. Still very nice on that line. David Lowe is throwing fantastic line today. He's had he was the one in the one of the previous ends where he threw a bunch of guards, or 2 guards in a row that ended up exactly in the right spot. And then when his teammate tried to throw the same shot, he was not able to do it. So I'm pretty impressed with that line.
Yeah,
did another one just there.
Especially with some of the difficulties we've seen in and around the center line.
Yeah, it's
to be able to just keep putting
it
those directly over your shot stone is very valuable.
So they're trying to still hold this. They managed to hold the line on that one to peel the guard.
So David Lowe gets one chance to put it back.
Let's see if he can get this one just a little bit deeper and have that guard counter that we were talking about earlier.
Looks maybe heavier. Might be a lot heavier.
It's tracking on that outside of that center line again. Once it gets back, it might curl enough, but I think they need this one to be in the house now for sure. So it is. And that actually did come over pretty nicely. Tracked a little bit on that right side of the center line for a while, and then came over. Unfortunately, I think it made this double. He got a little too close, and so it made the double a little bit easier than he would have liked.
Yeah, and didn't come over directly nose to nose with the other stone. So yeah, they're lined up for it. It's a pretty natural double.
If Chris Faircloth can throw it and hit those, both those yellows are going. He's inside of the line though. He's trying to hold it. If he gets just
he's got the top one,
and he did.
He's got them both.
Wow, that was some really good sweeping there to hold that one. When Chris Faircloth let that go, I thought it was too far inside to actually hold the line, but sweepers did a fantastic job there.
And from 2 yellow now to 1 red.
Another really kind of light takeout here from John Lawrence. I don't think that's actually got enough juice to get it out. I think he called the takeout, right?
I did.
Or did he call it freeze to the top of it?
If the call was freeze, the weight is really nice.
Just didn't have the line.
Didn't have the line. If the call was takeout, then 0.0.
That was really light. So now all of a sudden from yellow sitting 2.
George and Chris just
2
have
rocks ago.
target.
And yeah, 2 rocks ago yellow was sitting 2, and now red has a chance to sit 2. I think they're going to spill on this one. See if it'll hang around.
Rolls over. It has enough house in front of it to stick around.
Very nice shot from Chris Faircloth.
And then one at the back is back far enough that if you sit on it, you don't outcount the one in the top 8.
Correct.
So not a lot of ways here for Hal to have a counter that isn't easily going to be removed on the next shot.
Bill. Oh, yes. Yep. Gotta get it over. Yep. You got it, guys. Keep going. Hard. Keep going.
And this one is just coming up light.
Never up. Real good.
That's just barely over the hog.
Hard. Come hard. Lots of line. Nice shoot, guys.
It ends up guarding
the shot rock for red. So George, I think, is he's probably just going to try to beat him to the spot and see if he can draw one into the forefoot. Even in the top of the forefoot to close off access is pretty good.
It looks like he actually just pointed sort of
short of the house.
A little bit short of the house,
maybe
or
in
top
the 12.
Yeah.
So we're back to, by the way, the other games have finished their 6 ends, but it's the even end, of course, so hanging the score is on the other end of the sheet, so none of them have hung the score for the 6th end.
Except for sheet D,
except for sheet D, which is on the 7th. Yeah.
They're measuring, I think.
They're measuring in their 7th.
So
we'll let you know what happened. I believe there was some interesting stuff that happened in that last end, especially on sheet C, so...
Sure, it's okay. How's the weight? On that. Yep, line.
Not laying a brim to this one.
Yep.
The line is actually really good. Oh, wow, that thing cut over.
Oh, it's
I think it's long. I think it had good momentum, and then I think it might have picked, because that moved probably 2 rocks from the hog line in.
Yeah, no, the line and the weight both look pretty nice for being a guard.
It
just
curled
went
a solid
sideways.
2 rocks from the hog line to where it ended up behind that yellow. I thought it was drifting pretty good, and Eric Clausen had his hand up that he thought he was a little heavy. And then all of a sudden it just cut hard over.
So if you're Hal McGrady, good news is the whole 4-foot circle is open for you. The bad news is you've got to get there.
Yeah, and you're facing 2, so.
And you're down by 3, so.
Well, you're the old skip deuce here.
Yeah, you're gladly take your 2, but would have loved to have come up with more.
So over on sheet C, a score update, the single barrel did manage to get a single. They were facing a bundle of red rocks for a while. Pittsburgh Rookie had piled a bunch in and managed to clear out enough that they had access to a shot for a single point in the 6th end and take a 1-point lead after 6. And over on sheet D, some fireworks. The game is now tied as Injured Reserve scored 3 after that measure and tied the game after 7, so they will have a tie game without an Injured Reserve does not have hammer in the 8th end. Hal McGrady's shot just sails through again. He struggled to find his draw weight today. He had a couple. Oh, that's not right.
Oh, that's
the wrong one.
The end's not over. That was just.
Yeah.
That was right, except the end's not over.
Mike tried to put up a premature points for George Shark. Not quite ready yet.
Oh, I'm in there in the scoreboard interface. I'm just typing in numbers.
Typity type.
Just giving out points. You get some points. You get some points.
Everybody gets some points.
Look under your chair. It's points. It is under my chair. It looks like nothing, thankfully.
Oh.
I'd be concerned if there was something under the chair.
I don't know. You might have some haggis under there. You never know. That stuff just kind of stays around everywhere. Floor haggis. George's rock is also floating on that same line that Hal just threw. He's trying to tuck it in.
The weight is better, and he's got a little bit of backing here, but
I don't think that's what he was going for, though.
No, it definitely wasn't what he was going for, but it's not going to go through.
They seem to have found a little bit of floaty line there, so. Hal still has the same shot. He's got to draw in for his single. Cut the lead down 2 if he can. I think that's about the same ice he took on his first one. So if he takes a little bit off, and hopefully, theoretically, the worst case, he uses the other 2 red rocks as backing and cuts them down to 1 at least. But the last time he threw one through, he made a nice adjustment and used his sweepers to get it to the house in the right place. So let's see if he can do that again here.
That's true. There was that one earlier where he sort of almost overcorrected too much. The sweepers worked to get it there.
That's much tighter. But it looks heavy though. Oh, this is, I don't know what's going to happen
It looked kind of nice. Then he gave it kind of a big push at the end, but it's hard to tell with those stick deliveries. Sometimes that's just how they do it.
It's on the guards and not going to happen. So that's a steal of 3 for George Shirk. So your scoreboard update was premature. It's not 9-7 or 9-4. It's 10-4 now after 6 ends.
Well, you know, maybe you should have just taken the 2 while I was there.
Yeah, right.
So let's make a deal here on the curling sheet. I'll give your opponents 2 points now if you take this $100 and go home.
There is a Bonspiel, I believe, later this season in Rochester, where they're auctioning off like magic card type things.
Oh, they did that, I think, last season, or maybe it's just been so long since I read about it.
Yeah,
because I saw Curling the Gathering on the calendar.
I believe that's right.
And was very excited as a Magic player and judge myself. And then I read about what it really was and was both more and less excited. I was less excited that the actual cards really don't have anything to do with Magic the Gathering.
But they all
just
do have
that you pay a lot of money for.
They have kind of different powers, which are very interesting powers.
It was really interesting. There were cards that you could play to make your opponent like throw their next shot off the bumper, or like only throw an in turn, or only throw an out turn, or you got to stand in front of them while they were throwing, like stand at the far hog line.
There's obviously the do-over shots, or there was, I believe, one that was expected to be more expensive was that you can reset the score after 4 ends or something like that if you wanted to, which would obviously be a very expensive card to get.
Yeah,
that's a pretty powerful idea.
Yeah.
But
and if I remember reading about it, I believe the way it worked was every team got like a budget at the start of fake money with which to bid on cards, but then you could buy more bundles of fake money for real money, and all that money was going to go to charity.
Yep.
Yeah.
So over on sheet A, the lead has opened up for Flowers of Scotland. They scored another 2 points in the last end to take an 8-3 lead. Back here on our feature sheet, George Shirk still firmly in control of the game as Michael Ray makes a nice takeout there.
I was more worried about the jam, so I think it's all right.
Someone, oh, never mind. I was like, someone in the vicinity is like peeling an orange or something, because I'm getting the strong aroma of citrus. But now I see Laura over there eating an orange between games, so gotta get your vitamins.
I need her to sweep later, so yeah. I'm just a lazy skip, so I'm having a beer.
That's what I was about to say. Like, what are you drinking like a screwdriver or something? Because I just was overpowered with the smell of oranges. In that case, you need a beer because you're going to be cold out there standing there, so you need some alcohol.
So I'm going to stand up real quick because some of these other games are getting towards the last few rocks of their ends.
Oh yeah, well, especially on D, where it's the 8th end.
Where Team Injured Reserve is trying to complete the comeback against Groundsweeper Willie. They're sitting shot rock in the house right now behind a bunch of guards and throwing up another one on the side of the house to guard again. They're right on the button with now five guards right in front of it. And Groundsweeper Willie runs up to basically try to blow this up somehow. And on sheet C, also, we have a very good game between Pittsburgh Rookies and Single Barrel, trying to see if the Battle of Pittsburgh Deathmatch, how that's going to end up. Back here on the feature sheet, Hal McGrady is sitting shot rock now.
Yeah, he made the yellow team made a pretty nice freeze on that last one. George trying to follow it down here.
He's got room. If he can get to the button, they're going to be shot rock and hard to remove too. That's coming up a little bit short. Not bad. It still makes it hard now for for Hal to score more than one. That just did close off a little bit of the house. So, was that David that made another nice draw? Was that his shot that ended up on the
it must have been.
frozen? He's playing really well. I'm going to have to draft him to one of my teams at some point here.
Yeah, it must be, because this is the 4th shot, so the previous one must have been the 3rd. Really, just excellent weight control.
Yeah, he called. Hal called for a guard, and this is going to be a nice guard weight. Maybe rub off that red and roll in front a little bit, and pretty good shot. Unfortunately for them, Team Ohio needs to score a bunch here. They can't just settle for one. So I don't know if throwing the guard there was... It's protecting your one, but you're still going to be down 5 without the hammer if you score.
Yeah, you really need to try to steal a 3 or something, and then another one, because then you'll be down 3 with one to play again. But
back over on sheet D, Groundsweeper Willie did blow some stuff up and removed the injured reserve rock that was on the button, and now yellow is still sitting shot rock, but it's just barely in the half in the 12-foot. And came up short with another draw that they just tried, so it's coming down to the wire in that one. Chris Faircloth's shot is just sailing. They found that drifty line again. That line just kind of floats out there and doesn't come back. You can see on the side of your screen there, Team Single Barrel made a nice shot to sit 2 in right around the button area. Red does have 3 other rocks that are 3rd, 4th, and 5th shot, I think, though. So if they can make this double right down the center, then they may have a shot at getting a bundle. Let you know how that goes. Now John Lawrence here trying to draw one in. He's got to draw into the 4-foot, basically, full 4, or even just half in the 4-foot. They're calling for the sweep, but it's got to curl a little bit more.
Yeah, it got around the guard by enough that they could have let it go a bit.
Yeah, pay attention on the right side of the shot here for sheet C, see what happens. I don't think he's going to make it. Oh, wait, no. I think he made the shot for... Oh, that's close. Is that yellow or red? I think they tapped the red, so Pittsburgh Rookies scored a single point on sheet C to tie out the game, coming back in the 8th end here. Over on sheet D, Groundsweeper Willie did make their little tap, and they are sitting shot rock fully in the 12-foot.
Yes, sir!
With also a tie game on that sheet.
And they're in the 8th end. So
they are in the 8th end, so that is going to be coming down to the end. So
it's for all the haggis.
Nice shot there by Chris Faircloth. Take out that yellow. I don't know if it was actually counting for a second shot or not, but George wasn't going to take a chance with it.
No, I think the hope was probably to get a little inward roll off of it, but just removing it helps a lot because now Hal doesn't have it for the inward roll for his shot.
Right, and I don't know if he can get enough curl. He's looking like he can try to get enough curl around the guard into the 4-foot.
In theory you can, but we've seen them all come down that line and not get there, so... Maybe there's a line and a weight that does it, but I don't know what it is.
Let's see if John Lawrence has it. I think it's a little inside of the line they were throwing earlier, so let's see if it curls at all.
If I was calling the line, I would say to be sweeping it, but no, it gets by the guard still by a good margin, and still just kind of hits outside the nose of the red stone. Doesn't hurt them at all, but it doesn't help
hurt them, but That's one of those ones where you can say, I can use it later. If George doesn't do anything about it, then that yellow is in a prime position to either raise or throw a double or something. Over on sheet D, they are down to the hammer rock. Todd Moyer was trying to sneak one into the 4-foot, crashed on the guard, but he rolled in for shot rock in the outside 8-foot. And Groundsweeper Willie has to just hit and spill on this one. They just have to make contact to make sure the yellow goes away. They're sweeping it hard to try to hold the line. And it looks like he made the shot. So Groundsweeper Willie pulls out the win and moves ahead in the C event. Over on sheet A, we had Lost Handle scored a single in the 7th end. So they're still down by 4 points without the hammer. So let's see what George has in store for us here. George trying to cover that yellow rock that was just thrown by John Lawrence. Kind of the danger rock, he believes. That's a real nice spot, just tucked behind the yellow guard and covering the other yellow shot. I don't think that he can see enough of that yellow to get an angle tap raise on it. He's going to have to hit it pretty thin. He's got to move it probably about a rock and a half worth.
Yeah, he's got to get it about
second shot.
Yeah, about 2/3, 3/4 of the way onto the red ring there.
And he's just going to shake. I think he thinks he doesn't have a shot. So they are going to shake, and
I guess, and even if that, he's thinking, he's looking at the time. If he gets a 2 here, he's still down 4 without hammer. Like,
yep.
I don't disagree with his sort of calculation of the odds, but I think once you get to that spot, you got to at least, I think, try to see if you can get a deuce on the end.
I think he might have thrown that shot just to see if he can nudge it in, and who knows what can happen at that point. So let's see, can we try to scoot over to sheet C is the most competitive game still. They're tie game between Pittsburgh Rookies and Single Barrel. Scoot you over to that one. And Single Barrel now, there's only one red guard along the center line that they're going to try to remove now. There's a red in the house, but it's only in the 8-foot, and they're not too worried about that as long as the center is open at the end. On this one is a nice peel and roll over. That was a peel. That was a peel. Solid peel weight there from Len.
I think that's fine. 2-3 is fine. Which one do you want to go, good? Same way, he'll get it. Good. Good work. Yep. Better. Still a little deep. I think we're in for a guard. No.
Mike Parker trying to encourage this rock to slow down. They wanted a guard, and it is slowing down. It's going to be a good guard. It's a good spot. Forcing Single Barrel to peel again. Brian Stewart looks like he's going to take the other turn this time. It looks like he's almost getting a little bit greedy, and maybe if he gets a bonus double on that red in the side. Nope, that is another peel weight that is not coming back.
Well, I are, but anybody else? Next game?
I don't know.
Okay.
Mike, are you staying for the next game?
I can if there isn't anyone else doing it.
Jimmy's doing it, but
Another guard, both fine.
Yeah, he was signed up for this draw too. But he was also playing this afternoon, so maybe either he's tired or hurt or too much haggis.
Yeah, that's a lot to sign up for, like, Spiel.
Yep, no last. Yeah.
I just jumped in because I was here and not playing at this current time. I'm playing shortly, but so a little bit of an opening now for Pittsburgh rookies after they missed the peel of that red guard. He's going to try to draw around behind. Not laying a broom to this one. And now they're going hard. It's curling really hard. They lost its handle a little bit. I wonder if that one picked a little bit. That kind of did not have a whole lot of handle as it was coming into the house. But now they have 2 guards. 2 guards to work with, and Brian Stewart looking a little. He's getting serious now. He doesn't know. He's not super happy that they missed that last peel for sure. Now he thinks maybe they can get a double, but he's kind of probably kicking himself that he got a little too greedy maybe with that last one. He thought maybe he could get a double, and then it wasn't quite there. Oh, he's got to hope he doesn't go right between them. Don't go between them. And that's a field goal. Brutal.
That was a really tight field goal, too.
Yeah.
I think if you asked me to throw through that port, I don't know that I could have.
About a rock and a half wide, and somehow managed to get his rock through there.
Well,
It's narrow enough that Pittsburgh rookies doesn't know how to get through to get another one behind.
yeah, that's...
So he's going to try to see if he can get through that hole.
I mean, if he...
Your
if
options are to go wide and get around one of them, or go between them.
I mean,
it looks like
if
he's
you try to
going
go between them and you wreck, maybe you just raise one, and you're still going to get
Yeah,
one
you
in.
have options. If you can promote if you're a little wide. If you wreck on one of them, then you have actually a better center guard, and you can promote one of them
you might
later.
end up with a big wall, too.
I think this is the promote, actually, now that... well, it's a little light, so it's curling hard, so maybe it's not a promote. It's just going to be another guard. That
They own the center line here.
They own the front of the house and the center line, so Brian Stewart's shifting gears. Look at this.
I guess, I mean, I almost said it on the last shot was, normally, you've got the hammer in a tie game in the last end. Do you want to just, I mean, you generally, what you want to do is remove all the guards so you've got an easy draw at the end. Now all the guards are up. Do you want to just use them? Draw behind and sit in there?
He's here he called a hit and roll.
That's also good because then even if you just clear the house, you've at least taken the other team's point off the board for now.
Steve Buffington is inside on this one, trying like heck to. They're on the guard, but they really nosed it, and they did manage to roll it out a little bit, so it opened it up a bit. Honestly, that actually makes Pittsburgh rookies' shot a little easier now. Removing that guard, they can draw straight around those other 2 reds.
And ironically, I guess you could say they got that peel they've been going for.
Yeah.
All it took them was to just try to do something else.
To not try to do it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Doesn't matter what I can.
So here's Mike Parker trying to draw one around those 2 guards. See how the weight is. They're not laying a broom to it, but once it got to about this point recently, it's curled a ton, and there it goes. Right as I said it. There's like a magnet on those rocks that's just drawing it right to them, and sure enough, there it goes again.
Wow.
And you gotta almost fault the sweepers for that, because they just kind of sat there and watched it, even though they watched 3 other rocks just take turns right there. You gotta get your broom down on it, and you kind of just even keep it clean, heavy clean.
Exactly. Even if you're
through that sticky spot.
Even if you're pretty sure it's got enough and you don't want to brush it hard, you just got to be ready for when you
see that curl
take that
go.
bite.
Yeah. So Brian, it looks like, is taking the other turn to try to get that red rock that's in the 8-foot out. Still, I think he's still trying to make that hit and roll again. But regardless of what happens, you got to think that Pittsburgh Rookies are going to have a shot somewhere.
I will say that before the game, I heard, I believe it was someone from one of these teams, asking what the tiebreaker procedure is. So we may have a blank end coming.
That would be tie game in the 8th and you blank the 8th. That's not ideal. It has happened.
I guess it's better than blanking the 9th, but
it's the reason that the 12th End Sports Network is called the 12th End Sports Network, because they accidentally blanked to the extra end. This is a nice shot from Brian. He's going to get a nice hit and a little bit of a flop over. So this is the last shot now for Pittsburgh Rookies. Trying to take a look and see, does he have a little bit of, he does have a little bit of room where he could potentially get a little flop under. A little bit of a soft weight takeout and get a little flop under is going to be really, really tough for single barrel. That might actually be that situation where it would be a blank. He might have to play a run back double if he makes this. It's close. They were off it for a while, and now it's curling. It's got to curl, and it's got to stay, though. No, don't sweep.
And it does it have anything under it? No, it's well
it
out
just
into the
rolled
corner.
out. Now Brian is trying to figure out where he can draw to. He would love to just draw into the 4-foot, but now he left those 3 guards that are red, and he doesn't want to tap them up. So he's almost got to draw around to the corner, which is a little bit trickier. So as you were mentioning, Mike, the tiebreaker procedure after a tie game, after 8 ends, is skip rocks.
Yes, they were asking, and I was just over at the draw board getting the teams for this draw, and it's posted on the draw board, so I happen to have just read it.
So they just decided here to take a ton of ice.
Yeah, just
don't mess around with those
Don't
guards.
go anywhere near the center line, and just touch the paint in the port there. Easy,
Super
right?
easy.
Yeah,
That's
no
what the
sweat.
skips got to pay the big bucks for, as in 0 in this case.
All the haggis you can eat. I'm going to run these haggis jokes into the ground.
Yeah.
Why else do you do a Scotland-themed spiel, right?
It looked like he was a tad inside of where they had the broom. But they're just kind of... This is the spot where it curls, though.
And the one sweeper is already cleaning. But
it's... I think it's going to hit the guard. I think you want to call up. Stop sweeping. You don't want to knock them in. Oh, and it didn't quite get there. That is the unintentional blank. Unintentional blank of the 8th end. And so he will go to that tiebreaker procedure of skip rocks. I think even though where they had the broom was safe, I think he was a little inside of that, and the sweepers maybe didn't notice that he was inside of the line, and they hit that same spot where it just slams on the brakes and curls a bunch. So.
Yeah, and there was one sweeper sort of giving it clean. It wasn't a particularly hard clean, and then it ended up being the wrong sweeper when it needed a directional sweep.
Yeah.
So it just didn't help them in the end.
So now this is going to be fascinating because they've thrown all of their draws on that side of the sheet that is the side that slams on the brakes, which theoretically they should know the ice on that side of the sheet, but none of them has actually properly shown that they know the ice and actually made the shot. So this is the same line that those other rocks have actually curled on. And suddenly Pittsburgh Rookies realizes, oh, we need our second sweeper. Let's That would be helpful. Both guys can sweep this one.
I mean, theoretically, if you could throw a draw without a broom, you could have all three people sweep this one.
True. So here's the shot. It's away, and they're watching it again. I don't like that they're watching it. I would be sweeping this all the way until they told me to stop sweeping.
Yeah, if you're not sure, you should probably just go.
And they are going to get 4 sweepers out there now because it is light, and they're going to get it to the house, I think.
No.
No, it's going to be short.
Literally where every rock on that line is.
Yep. Daphne Roberts is gesturing. She's like, I don't want to throw that side, but Brian Stewart is going to come over and put it in the same spot anyways,
So
and just hope he throws enough. This will be about 8 rocks in a row that we've thrown down this line to see if we can get one in here. Again, I don't know why the sweepers aren't at least cleaning this.
And in all of this, I missed what happened over on A, but based on the fact that it was a 4-point game, I'm pretty sure that the Flowers
Yeah,
of Scotland
Flowers
did
of Scotland
close
won
the
that
out.
game, yeah. And, oh my gosh, this is not going through, is it? I think it's going to stop.
Well, there's
It
no
is,
defensive
okay.
sweeping, so I don't think it's going to make it
Very
through.
nice shot from Brian.
In penalties.
So single barrel, the master is still the master. The student has not surpassed him yet. But a fantastic game. What a back and forth game there.
The
from both of
tightest
those
game
teams.
of the draw. That's evidenced by the fact that we're here in the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We have Jamie Fallon's going to jump on the broadcast here for the 8:30 p.m. draw coming up shortly.
Yep, we're going to just cut off for a few minutes, get everything reset, get the ice re-prepped. See you back in a bit. Thanks.